Hello, how's everybody doing out there? Hopefully, you're doing well in these crazy and uncertain times. Well, I'm going to introduce myself, share a little bit about my story, and hopefully, you get something out of it. Before we get started, you see this whiteboard back here, these stickers on the wall. If you're wondering, I'm in the classroom in my house where we homeschool our children. All right, so let's get started. My name is Antoine Sinclair. I'm currently a police officer at James Madison University. I'm a corporal and one of the patrol sergeants. I've been working there for 5 years. Prior to that, I was a police officer with the city of Harrisonburg, where I spent 5 of those years as a school resource officer at Harrisonburg High School. Enjoyed it, and I actually do miss it a lot. I'm not from this area. My wife is from this area. I met her in college. She was my college sweetheart, and that's how I ended up here. Growing up, I moved around a lot because my dad was in the Air Force. I was actually born in England. Spent a couple years there. Didn't pick up the accent, but I spent a couple years there. Then we moved to Michigan, to South Carolina, to New Hampshire, to Washington State, and then he retired in Hampton, Virginia. When he retired, I was 12 years old, getting ready to start middle school. Very tough for me because I was accustomed to growing up on military bases, very safe and controlled environment. Now I had to move to being a civilian, going to school, with regular students. And it was an adjustment because I wasn't like the rest of the kids I went to school with. I didn't dress like them. I didn't talk like them. They bullied me. They made fun of me. I really didn't start getting friends until I started playing basketball. Once I started playing basketball, certain people gravitated to me. So I attended Hampton High for 3 years, and then I transferred to Peninsula Catholic my senior year. Played basketball there, and then I went on to Christopher Newport to continue to play basketball there. Had a very good career, successful career. They ended up retiring my jersey. So if any of y'all become Christopher Newport captains when you go to college, if you go into the Freeman Center, you look up in the rafters, you see Antoine Sinclair, number 2. That's me. So after college, I was fortunate enough to go play professional basketball in Europe for a couple of years. I played in London. I played in Ireland. I played in Germany. I got paid pretty good for not a lot of time. We worked 3 or 4 hours a day, and the rest of the day, it was up to you to occupy your time. So some people got in trouble. Some people didn't. One of my hobbies is traveling. So I was fortunate enough to do that while I was over there. As you know, countries in Europe are like states in America. You hop on a train, 1 or 2 hours later, you're in another country. I wasn't big on going to museums or seeing attractions. I was more interested in, meeting the locals and delving into their culture, talking to them, get the history of why they are who they are and what they are. That was my favorite subject in school, was history. And even now, I do a lot of research in history just to help me understand why we are the way we are and why things are the way they are. So I think that's also helped me in being a police officer. So anyway, after I got finished playing basketball, I had to decide what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I know I wasn't an office sitter. I didn't want to sit in the office. That's not who I am. I like to be out and about. I like to meet people. I like to empower people. So, excuse me, looking at that, law enforcement, police work looked like that'd be, intriguing. So I applied and it worked out. Being a police officer is nothing like I expected. I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't mean it in a positive way. It was just different. It's not what you see on TV. That's a very small part of what you do as a police officer. It's more paperwork than you'd like to do. So, paperwork, especially now, the tense times that we're living in. It was a bit of a culture shock for me, being a police officer in this area. This area is very conservative, very traditional. So a lot of times when I showed up on calls, they weren't happy that I showed up. 1, because I was a police officer. 2, because I was a black man. And they didn't really want to be policed by a black man. So that was an adjustment. And obviously everything that's going on now that we're seeing in the news, we're in a very racially charged time in our country, but that's kind of the foundation of what this country has always dealt with. And, in my opinion, I don't think it's ever going to be eradicated. I mean, we're always going to deal with it to a certain degree. It's just what it is. I'm a big foundation guy, and when you look at the foundation of this country, it's something that we're always going to have to deal with. The things that I've seen going on in the news, what happened in Minnesota, what happened in Wisconsin, it's very tough. One, to be a black man. Two, to be in law enforcement, because, I mean, in our profession, if one officer does something, it makes everybody else look bad. And that's unfortunate, but that's just something that we have to deal with. But my advice would be, you see what's going on in the news, but you also need to research it for yourself, and get all the facts that you can and make your decisions accordingly. Because the news is only going to, be it positive or negative, it just is what it is. They're just going to give you enough of it to get an emotional reaction out of you. So, as you grow up and you choose different careers or you hear different things, make sure you're studying to show yourself approved. Just understanding that, there's always more to the story. So get all the information you can so you can make the best decisions that you can make. So that's just a little bit about myself. Y'all take care. God bless, and see you when I see you.